All political ways of resolving the situation at the eastern border peacefully were exhausted. Thus, I have signed the Directive 1. I order to begin the offensive operation against Poland on the 1st of September.
Herr Führer, in case of military intervention in Poland, we will come under a very serious threat of an attack by Russian forces. I am sure that the Reich is not ready to fight two enemies at once.
Calm down, Halda. Ribbentrop has just signed the non-aggression pact with our Soviet comrades, which outlines the spheres of interest and confirms our mutual decision about the partition of Poland. As the Commander-in-Chief, I am sure it is best for us to be allies and trade partners with Soviet Russia, not enemies.
I have heard you say that you were not stupid enough to enter the war for the sake of Danzig.
Stop, Halda. How much longer should we tolerate the endless humiliation of the German nation? The German army is bound to protect our people, even those living in the territory controlled by Poland. This is your duty as a Wehrmacht officer. The council meeting is adjourned. Begin the implementation of the Plan Weiss. Deputies, men of the German Reichstag, for months, we have been suffering under the torture of a problem which the Versailles Diktat created. A problem which has deteriorated until it has become intolerable for us. Danzig was and is a German city. The corridor was and is German. Both these territories owe their cultural development exclusively to the German people. I have also tried to solve the problem of Danzig, the corridor, and all the rest by proposing a peaceful solution. Yet I am wrongly judged if my love of peace and my patience are mistaken for weakness or even cowardice. Tonight, for the first time, Polish regular soldiers have fired on our territory. Since 5:45 a.m., we have been returning the fire, and from now on, bombs will be met by bombs. Whoever fights with poison gas will be fought with poison gas. Whoever departs from the rules of humane warfare can only expect we shall do the same. I will continue this struggle, no matter against whom, until the safety of the Reich and its rights are secured.
Gentlemen, the Führer has just made his final decision regarding the war against Poland. Operation Fallwehr, the war in the up the look and I with post and
We will rule the day. In Guderian we trust. We will rule the day. Thick armor won't help if one is thick in the head. Ready to depart. Armored troops at your disposal. We will be there before you notice. We employ superior combat tactics. It's not very comfortable here. We make victory our routine. Continue the engagement. We will rule the day. In Guderian we trust. In Guderian we trust.
No army can fight without infantry.
We are the Kriegsmarine's finest. Firing on that target. Collective fire.
We've got big guns and we're not afraid to use them! The Hammer of the Reich!
Standing by for orders. Moving. Stay sharp.
Armored troops at your disposal, with speed and precision.
Ready for some havoc. Anyone call for divine intervention?
Fly like the wind.
Hopefully, no bombers today. Moving to meet the enemy.
One day this war will end. Better not be soon.
For Deutschland and its people. Time to move on.
Ready to make some craters.
Ready for strafing run.
Christmas is here and I have a bomb bay full of presents.
We'll move quietly. There, see it? The enemy.
Ready to depart. Speed is our forte. Panzers are the cutting edge of Wehrmacht. We will rule the day. We employ superior combat tactics.
We're the elite. Acknowledged. Move into a position.
Thick armor won't help if one is thick in the head. We employ superior combat tactics. Keep moving! Keep moving!
We'll move quietly.
It's not very comfortable here. No respite for the enemy.
We are the guns of the Reich! Adjusting fire! Care package delivered!
Fire from the sky. Starting bomb run. Fire from the sky.
Ha! Watch them fly! While the blood of the German soldiers is spilled, the Russian troops lie in wait. Much has been... I want out...
Yes, Herr.
Where to, Commander? On our way.
Thick armor won't help if one is thick in the head.
One day this war will end. Better not be soon.
We cast the biggest shadows.
It's not very comfortable here.
What is it? Advancing. Target is ours.
We will rule the day.
Any sensitive assignments for us? Keep your eyes peeled, everyone.
Panzers are the cutting edge of Wehrmacht. Scatter them! We are not done yet.
Standing by for orders. We've captured the key point.
Ready to roll. We'll get there in no time.
Anyone call for divine intervention?
We were born to make war. There is no going back now.
We will be there before you notice. Ready to depart. We employ superior combat tactics. With speed and precision.
We're the elite.
Panzer Corps at the ready. Already there.
for Deutschland and its people.
Reconnaissance Company reporting.
One day this war will end. Better not be soon.
Ready to depart. Blast those bastards!
In the name of God and the fatherland. The enemy is leaving the battlefield.
Stop! Aim! Fire! We prevail. Already there. Armored troops at your disposal.
Captured.
The Poles tried playing heroes in their defense of Westerplatte. They did not know who they were up against. The transit depot has been taken, and we have something to show for it. We have secured French-made 81mm mortars, the highest quality.
We will make proper use of any trophy weapons. This will be our way of collecting interest from those accountable for the Treaty of Versailles.
The hammer of the Reich!
Reconnaissance Company reporting. Halt. Enemy up ahead.
Can we start blasting already? Repositioning.
It's not very comfortable here.
I didn't want to join the army. Time to move on.
Thick armor won't help if one is thick in the head. Armored troops at your disposal.
England and France.
Ready to roll. Can you see anything?
We'll treat this with absolute discretion. There, see it? The enemy. Moving. Stay sharp. Got you in my sights.
Thick armor won't help if one is thick in the head.
Always ready. Marching on.
In Guderian we trust. We do not stop without good reason. Ready to roll. Time for some action.
We'll move quietly. Moving out.
Our tanks are not heavy, but fast. Breakthrough! Our tanks are not heavy, but fast. We rule the day. We take what is ours. We will rule the day. With divine assistance.
We were born to make war. Pick up the pace!
Ready for strafing run. Ready to roll. Blast those bastards! Our tanks are not heavy, but fast. We will rule the day. It is under our control. With divine assistance. Thick armor won't help. It's not very comfortable here.
We will save the world from chaos. Yeah! We won! Now, we can put things in order here.
The Polish corridor has been eliminated. Finally, this thorn is out of our fatherland's side. This is a massive improvement for the Reich's strategic situation.
Additionally, we were lucky to have done so with the utmost expediency.
Reporting as ordered, sir. Step by step, we expand our fatherland.
We will be there before you notice. Breakthrough! We will rule the day. With divine assistance. Our tanks are not heavy, but fast.
Reconnaissance Company reporting.
It's not very comfortable here. Thick armor won't help if one is thick in the head. Panzers are the cutting edge of Wehrmacht.
We've got big guns and we're not afraid to use them!
We'll move quietly. Target in sight. We will lead the way. All right, boys, let's make it clean. Enemy down.
Armored troops at your disposal. In Guderian, we trust. We don't need roads.
For Deutschland and its people.
We will rule the day. Our tanks are not heavy, but fast. Can you see anything? Panzers are the cutting edge of Wehrmacht.
Watch out for enemy planes! Blast them to pieces!
It's not very comfortable here. What's today's mission? This is where the fun begins! One less to worry about! Out here, no one is my match. I got you now. That's a kill.
Can we start blasting already?
Recon company standing by.
It's not very comfortable here. Ace is high. Ready to roll.
What is it?
Armored troops at your disposal. Panzer Corps at the ready. We rule the day. It is under our control.
We've captured the key point.
Can you see anything? Our tanks are not heavy, but fast.
We'll move quietly. Nice and easy. Moving. Stay sharp.
It's not very comfortable here. Ready to depart. In Guderian, we trust. Speed is our forte. Panzers are the cutting edge of Wehrmacht. Our tanks are not heavy, but fast.
We were born to make war.
In Guderian, we trust. We will rule the day. Can you see anything? We make victory our routine.
Any sensitive assignments for us? They won't see it coming. Never stood a chance.
Thick armor won't help if one is thick in the head. Scatter them! Thick armor won't help if one is thick in the head. We shape their destiny. Take aim. Our tanks are not heavy, but fast. We will be there before you notice. Can you see anything?
We are heavy hitters. Affirmative. Give us the coordinates and watch the fireworks.
Our tanks are not heavy, but fast.
Watch out for enemy planes.
We will do battle. We were born to make war. Time to move on. Always ready. Step by step, we expand our fatherland.
Ah, the crisp sea air. We'll wipe them off the face of the earth.
We employ superior combat tactics. We employ superior combat tactics.
For glory!
Masters of the sky! I have a good feeling about this. No time to stop. Our offensive is being cut off by a Polish armored train. That thing is tougher than our tanks.
The Poles were smart to cover their positions with such a beast. It will not help them win the war, though. The moment our troops manage to catch the train between two stations, it will be trapped when it arrives at either of them.
No time to stop. Outmaneuver this. Time to allocate ammo for priority targets.
No one can hide from us. Everybody stop. I see the enemy. Nice and easy. Witnesses are retreating.
Time to allocate ammo for priority targets. Time to allocate ammo for priority targets.
One day this war will end. Better not be soon.
Time for some action.
We've got big guns and we're not afraid to use them.
For glory!
The hammer of the Reich.
Our tanks are not heavy, but fast.
Reporting as ordered, sir.
Our tanks are not heavy, but fast.
German Navy is unequaled. Enemy alert! All hands, man your battle stations.
One day this war will end. Better not be soon.
Any sensitive assignments for us? Clean, I like it.
No respite for the enemy. It's not very comfortable here. Can you see anything?
We're the elite. We've discovered the enemy. Squad's on the move. All right, boys, let's make it clean.
Ready to roll. Stop, aim, fire! Our tanks are not heavy, but fast. With divine assistance. Armored troops at your disposal. Take aim.
Any sensitive assignments for us? Target in sight. Enemy down. Holding the key location.
Ready to depart. Stop, aim, fire! In Guderian we trust. Blast those bastards! Panzers are the cutting edge of Wehrmacht. No respite for the enemy. Time to open up a bottle of schnapps. Let's make it our base.
We were born to make war. We were born to make war.
Standing by for orders.
What's today's mission? On my way. Masters of the Sky. This is where the fun begins!
No army can fight without infantry.
Ready to depart. It's not very comfortable here.
For glory!
Can you see anything? We will be there before you notice.
Have no fear. Open fire! They'll be back.
Ready to roll.
Reporting as ordered, sir.
Our forces have entered Helmno, my hometown. Good Lord, I can finally visit my homeland unimpeded.
You see the fruit of our efforts already, and soon our entire nation will see it as well. Native German lands are finally returning to their rightful owners, and this process can no longer be stopped.
Can you see anything? No ammo, no battle. Speed is our forte. Our tanks are not heavy, but fast.
We are the masters of the sea.
Masters of the Sky. They will not escape. Enemy is retreating. That's the right idea. We employ superior combat tactics. Time for some action. Thick armor won't help if one is thick in the head. Can you see anything? Take aim. No time to stop. Might makes right.
No one can hide from us.
Our tanks are not heavy, but fast. It's not very comfortable here.
No one can hide from us.
Armored troops at your disposal. Armored troops at your disposal. Our tanks are not heavy, but fast. Ready to depart. With speed and precision.
Always ready. At your command. We did it! I didn't want to join the army.
Thick armor won't help if one is thick in the head.
I didn't want to join the army.
Need anything bombed to the ground?
If anyone asks, this unit does not exist.
One day this war will end. Better not be soon. Oh, I love this assignment.
No one can hide from us. Kill confirmed.
We will rule the day. No ammo, no battle. Blast those bastards! Enemies retreat, cut them off. In Guderian, we trust. We don't need roads.
Give us the coordinates and watch the fireworks.
We're the elite. Affirmative.
It's not very comfortable here. Breakthrough! It's not very comfortable here.
Acknowledged. Confirmed. Moving out.
Tactical bomber reporting. All is quiet, but not for long. Hammer down. I have a bad feeling about this.
About to run out of ammo. Adjusting the target quadrant. Our tanks are not heavy, but fast.
Got you in my sights.
Can you see anything? We rule the day. Outmaneuver this. We will be there before you notice. In Guderian, we trust. Scatter them! We are hot on their heels. With divine assistance, we rule the day. Panzers are the cutting edge of Wehrmacht. Can you see anything?
We'll take the point. Finish them off before they report us.
About to run out of ammo.
We're the elite. Nice and easy.
Can you see anything? Panzer Corps at the ready.
I didn't want to join the army. Forward, march!
Panzers are the cutting edge of Wehrmacht. It's not very comfortable here. We prevail. No ammo, no battle. We will outmaneuver them. Panzers on the move. It's not very comfortable here. Outmaneuver this!
Infantry is the Army's core.
We are the guns of the Reich! Already there! Almost! Need anything bombed to the ground?
We've discovered the enemy. Target acquired. Target acquired.
Our tanks are not heavy, but fast. In Guderian, we trust. With speed and precision. In Guderian, we trust.
Standing by for orders. Collective fire! Adjusting sights. Attack!
Garrison reporting.
Standing by for orders. There, see it? The enemy.
Our tanks are not heavy, but fast.
We've got big guns and we're not afraid to use them!
No one can hide from us.
Thick armor won't help if one is thick in the head. Our tanks are not heavy, but fast. We managed to capture the armored train. Once a threat, now an asset.
Perfect. Let our tech specialists start the repairs. Hopefully the train still has a few years of service in it. Service to the Reich.
If there is a railway, there will be no enemy.
No one can hide from us. And stay down. Halt. Enemy up ahead. Keep your eyes peeled, everyone.
We require no tickets. Time to feed our cannons. Shell, shell, shell! Stop counting the sleepers.
Can you see anything? With divine assistance. Panzer Corps at the ready.
Outmaneuver this!
No one can hide from us. Engaging the enemy.
It's not very comfortable here. Keep moving! Keep moving! Panzers are the cutting edge of Wehrmacht. Stop! Aim! Fire! No time to stop! Panzers are the cutting edge of Wehrmacht.
We'll treat this with absolute discretion. Oh, it's free real estate.
Thick armor won't help if one is thick in the head.
We require no tickets.
We will rule the day. Keep moving! Keep moving!
Always ready.
Thick armor won't help if one is thick in the head. We prevail.
Need anything bombed to the ground? Stop running! I'm not done with you! We're going! We're going!
Keep moving! Keep moving! Time for some action. Panzers are the cutting edge of Wehrmacht. We make victory our routine. Thick armor won't help if one is thick in the head. We will be there before you notice. Scatter them! Enemies retreat! Cut them off! Our tanks are not heavy, but fast. Already there. Time for some action. Keep moving! Keep moving! No respite for the enemy.
We'll move quietly.
Thick armor won't help if one is thick in the head. No time to stop. No respite for the enemy.
Standing by for orders.
Runner, be removed. Approaching coordinates, altitude normal.
Armored troops at your disposal. Time to open up a bottle of schnapps. Thick armor won't help if one is thick in the head.
At your command.
Sky is cloudy with high chance of flak.
We're the elite. Engaging!
Ready to depart. Our tanks are not heavy, but fast.
We are heavy hitters. Target destroyed.
We'll move quietly. Any sensitive assignments for us? Greetings, German. Too late.
We will rule the day.
We will lead the way. We're the elite. Target acquired.
In Guderian, we trust. Our tanks are not heavy, but fast. We are not done yet. Lvov and Brest-Litovsk are yours. The Red Army will be there soon. Let's organize a joint parade so they don't come in vain.
That is incredible news, Heinz. Greet the Russians with some schnapps. I bet they will be incredibly tired. Indeed, a joint parade might strengthen our alliance. Not to mention putting the Soviet equipment on full display for our intelligence service.
Already there. Time for some action.
If there is a railway, there will be no enemy.
Armored troops at your disposal. No respite for the enemy. We employ superior combat tactics. Outmaneuver this! Ready to roll. No respite for the enemy. Pursue the enemy. We take what is ours. No respite for the enemy. We shape their destiny. Thick armor won't help if one is thick in the head.
Acknowledged. Move into a position.
Ready to roll. Panzers on the move. Breakthrough! Armored troops at your disposal. Outmaneuver this! We will rule the day. Our tanks are not heavy, but fast. Outmaneuver this!
No army can fight without infantry. We are unstoppable!
We are the guns of the Reich! The hammer of the Reich!
Thick armor won't help if one is thick in the head. Panzer Corps at the ready. Ready to roll.
Standing by for orders. Squad, pick your targets.
Panzers are the cutting edge of Wehrmacht. Ready to roll. With divine assistance. It's not very comfortable here. We will rule the day. Speed is our forte. No respite for the enemy.
Standing by for orders. Got you in my sights. Squads on the move. Engaging!
Give us something to shell already!
We shall not be deterred.
Panzer Corps at the ready. Thick armor won't help if one is thick in the head.
Watch your step.
Step by step, we expand our fatherland.
Any sensitive assignments for us?
In Guderian, we trust. Thick armor won't help if one is thick in the head.
Fast and Furious.
In Guderian, we trust. Time to open up a bottle of schnapps.
Fast and Furious.
Can you see anything? We do not stop without good reason. Ready to roll. We'll get there in no time. Our tanks are not heavy, but fast. Armored troops at your disposal. Can you see anything? Can you see anything? Ready to depart. Time for some action. No time to stop. Panzers on the move. Outmaneuver this!
Any sensitive assignments for us?
In Guderian we trust. Ready to depart. With divine assistance.
We were born to make war. We did it!
Can you see anything? Scatter them! We employ superior combat tactics. Time to open up a bottle of schnapps.
Ready for some havoc. I don't like how exposed we are. Ready for some havoc. Ready to make some craters. I have a bad feeling about this. Christmas is here and I have a bomb bay full of presents. We cast the biggest shadows. We'll be passing over that quadrant.
The Hammer of the Reich! Moving out! The Hammer of the Reich! Standing by for orders. We're going! We're going!
Thick armor won't help if one is thick in the head. Already there. Thick armor won't help if one is thick in the head. We make victory our routine.
We'll treat this with absolute discretion. What is it? Moving out.
It's not very comfortable here. In Guderian we trust.
If anyone asks, this unit does not exist.
Ready to depart.
We require no tickets. Onward!
Armored troops at your disposal. We will be there before you notice. Panzers are the cutting edge of Wehrmacht. Panzer Corps at the ready.
Reconnaissance Company reporting.
The Hammer of the Reich!
I didn't want to join the army. Double time.
Ready for orders. Be there in a few.
For glory. Double time.
Garrison reporting.
Give us something to shell already!
Yes.
We bring the firepower. One more volley. Bought them tickets to hell.
The Poles have begun a sudden counteroffensive near the Bzura River. We have enemy units advancing towards Lodz and Warsaw. The strategic situation is getting dangerous.
Be there in a few.
Our combined military forces will have to temporarily halt the offensive and hold this area. We need to deprive the Poles of the momentum. No better way to do it than dealing heavy casualties.
We seem to have kicked the fighting spirit out of the Poles.
Good. The enemy only wasted their troops in fruitless attacks. Our offensive actions are to continue immediately.
Ready to depart. Time for some action.
Reconnaissance company reporting. Squads on the move.
Forward, march!
We will lead the way.
Panzer Corps at the ready. Our tanks are not heavy, but fast. It's not very comfortable here. Panzers on the move. Ready to depart. With speed and precision, we will rule the day. In Guderian, we trust. We make victory our routine.
We are the guns of the Reich!
Scorch the earth! Approaching coordinates, altitude normal.
In Guderian, we trust. We will be there before you notice.
Tactical bomber, armed and ready. Christmas is here and I have a bomb bay full of presents. Hopefully, no fighters today.
Panzer Corps at the ready. Time for some action. No time to stop.
We'll treat this with absolute discretion.
Heavy caliber! Confirmed! Moving out! Repositioning!
Panzers are the cutting edge of Wehrmacht. We employ superior combat tactics. It's not very comfortable here. Blast those bastards! We employ superior combat tactics.
We'll move quietly.
Thick armor won't help if one is thick in the head.
Open fire!
The Polish line of defense near Malava has been destroyed. As it turns out, very little in modern warfare is decided by the thickness of enemy concrete.
You are correct. The enemy generals are stuck in the Great War conventions and tactics. I say let them continue. This plays right into our hands.
This is our station now. One more volley. Crushed their morale.
No one can hide from us. Got you in my sights. Kill confirmed.
We will rule the day. Keep moving! Keep moving! Ready to roll. We don't need roads.
What is it? Advancing.
We will save the world from chaos.
We don't need roads. Can you see anything? Panzer Corps at the ready.
Garrison reporting.
Watch out for enemy planes. Be there in a few.
I didn't want to join the army.
Anyone call for divine intervention? Here's your Christmas gift. Gunners, keep an eye out. Tactical bomber reporting. Enemy escaping bombing area. Advancing in that direction.
Standing by for orders. Kill confirmed.
It's not very comfortable here. Keep moving! Keep moving! In Guderian, we trust. We do not stop without good reason. Ready to roll. We'll get there in no time. We will rule the day. We do not stop without good reason.
For glory! Time to move on.
Heavy caliber! Standing by for orders. Heavy caliber!
We employ superior combat tactics.
Run or be removed.
Armored troops at your disposal.
What is it? What's your step?
Armored troops at your disposal.
Hopefully, no fighters today.
Ready to depart.
Fast and furious.
We'll treat this with absolute discretion.
We've got big guns and we're not afraid to use them!
Make haste. Time to feed our cannons. more volley. Bought them tickets to hell.
It is under our control.
Our invasion of Poland opens with resounding victories. Our combined military units have reached their respective designated locations according to our invasion plan.
The incredible shame inflicted upon the German nation by the Treaty of Versailles has, at least in part, been removed. This is a joy to hear. Our armed forces are living up to my expectations. However, I will not consider our victory over Poland complete until I see the German jackboots marching through the streets of Warsaw. I am departing for Poland as we speak. We will meet in person.
The Führer is currently on the train to Warsaw. As his headquarters commandant, I'm in charge of his protection, but I need your cooperation in this. The main fighting in Poland is over, yet there may be saboteurs and guerrillas left over. I want no surprises of any type to suddenly materialize.
I understand. The Wehrmacht will take all possible measures to ensure the Führer's safety.
We shape their destiny. No time to stop.
No one can hide from us.
Give us something to shell already! Shells hit for full effect! You better believe it!
Closing in.
We employ superior combat tactics. Our tanks are not heavy, but fast. We will be there before you notice.
We are the guns of the right!
It's not very comfortable here. We will rule the day.
Recon company standing by.
Panzers are the cutting edge of Wehrmacht. Our tanks are not heavy, but fast.
Runner, be removed. All is quiet, but not for long.
Give us the coordinates and watch the fireworks!
According to the Abwehr, the Poles are mobilized in the eastern part of the country. The reservist divisions will soon arrive at the front.
A worrying.
It's not very comfortable here. Thick armor won't help if one is thick in the head. It's not very comfortable here.
Give us the coordinates and watch the fireworks! Can we start blasting already? Target destroyed!
As I predicted, the Polish mobilization has been completed. My agents report fresh divisions on the march, moving towards Warsaw and Krakow from the east.
This blitzkrieg may degenerate into trench warfare any day now. Herr Führer, I'm glad your journey went without a hitch. You really shouldn't place yourself in such risks.
I promised my soldiers I would stand by them, and I will not remain in the rear as our combined forces achieve their magnificent military feat. I see now that our success has not been exaggerated. I created the Wehrmacht to be the instrument of the German nation's will, with state-of-the-art weapons and equipment. Yet the world's best armaments would amount to nothing without the fine Prussian officers of the old guard, such as you. Thank you for your skillful leadership during this operation. Alda, did our tank divisions leave Brest on schedule? According to the pact, this city is in the Soviet sphere of interests.
Unfortunately, we do not have enough time to evacuate all the damaged tanks and heavy machinery. I ask your permission to extend the evacuation.
We cannot endanger our agreement with the Soviets. I order you to complete the evacuation by tomorrow evening. If we cannot evacuate anything on time, just leave it. Tell Guderian this order is absolute.
Comrade Krivoshay, I have a request.
You have my attention, General.
I have an order to immediately evacuate my forces, but we require more time to carry it out. Can I ask you for your cooperation in this matter?
Let me get this straight. If you want to get hold of the trophies, I will not allow it.
I am not talking about trophies. We have to evacuate our own tanks, damaged during the battle.
You are a true commander if you're going out of your way for your troops. Agreed. I will give you a few more days. We can even help you out by providing artillery trucks.
You have my sincere gratitude. I'm happy to fight alongside such true comrades.
It is a mutual feeling, Heinz. I think this is how true brothers in arms should help each other.
Oh, and one more thing. This decision is not approved by both my and your superiors. I hope that we can manage it here without bothering them, right?
Surely we can. We in Russia have a saying, the less you know, the better you sleep.
Indeed. Let's make sure the High Command sleeps well, while we get down to business here.